Episode 19. Yue Zhongmian understood the implication. By letting the other party become the team leader and setting the loot distribution to leader assigns, all their suspicions could be completely dispelled, allowing for full mutual trust. At this point, Yue Zhongmian could see it clearly. Lord Grimm no longer needed any schemes. If he truly wanted to keep everything for himself, a single word from him, and his three buddies wouldn't have any objections. With a resigned sigh, Yue Zhongmian transferred the party leadership. However, Lord Grimm didn't actually change any of the leader's permissions, he just said,
"Let's keep going."
With that he led the group onward. Their strategy unchanged, everything proceeded smoothly. The path through the cave ahead forked. Everyone knew one branch led to the Spider Lord's lair. Lord Grimm didn't hesitate, heading straight for the path that held the boss. The other four followed close behind. This path didn't exist in the normal dungeon. Along the way were spider eggs that would hatch when players got close. The tiny spiders that jumped out were minuscule, darting around to attack. Their damage was low, but because they were so small and fast, they were incredibly hard to hit. The four of them stared so hard their eyes were practically bubbling, landing a hit only about once every 3 or 5 attacks. But over on Lord Grimm's side, every spear thrust found its mark. One strike, one kill, effortless and lightning fast. Seeing the four of them in such a sorry state, Lord Grimm reached out to help. All four of them let out a long sigh of relief. Without Lord Grimm, they'd have reached the Spider Lord eventually, but the journey would have taken them a good hour.
Hey, do you think we could still get the first clear on the Spider Lord?
There was a hint of hopeful anticipation in Qian Shengli's words.
That's going to take some luck. I just hope we're early enough.
Getting that first clear means we're the first team to have taken on the Spider Cave. We're not slow either. This is the third run, and with no system message about a hidden boss first clear, I'd say our chances are pretty good.
Well, if you don't have the skills, you wouldn't dare take on a hidden boss even if you found one. Well, all thanks to you, Master.
Right.
Don't you find yourselves disgusting?
Yue Zhongmian was utterly contemptuous of the three's constant attempts to cozy up to Lord Grimm, and he wasn't afraid of Lord Grimm hearing it. All three of them were both frustrated and embarrassed, and they couldn't help but feel a surge of anger toward Yue Zhongmian. If we're talking about how this whole mess started, Yue Zhongmian, were the one in the wrong. Why couldn't you just back down a step? Tianqi gave Yue Zhongmian another private lecture. Logically, Yue Zhongmian was no match for Tianqi. In the end, he just settled on a stubborn attitude. I just don't like him, and that's that. Tianqi was also losing patience. He made his displeasure clear. Get lost after we finish this dungeon. Stop causing trouble with your constant flip-flopping. Yue Zhongmian felt a pang of bitter sorrow. Was this the moment he was finally being cast aside for the sake of a pro? Yi Shu had been leading the way. Spotting a smaller cavern nested within the cave ahead, he knew this was the Spider Lord's lair.
How do we kill this thing?
Alright, hold on a sec. I'm gonna tab out and check the guide.
The four of them were thrown into chaos again. What was going on? You're only looking up the guide now, at the last minute? Talk about sharpening your spear on the battlefield.
Bro expert, you're...
Tianqi mumbled at a loss for words. Lord Grimm just stood there, completely unresponsive. It really did look like he'd alt-tabbed out of the game to check a guide. The four of them were utterly bewildered. They'd already concluded this guy was a Supreme Master. So how could something like this happen to a Supreme Master?
Did they switch players?
Tianqi voiced a chilling suspicion.
I knew it. A master that's skilled. Why would he leave the heavenly domain just to start fresh in a new server all alone?
So the real pro was the one playing before. And now the fake pro's back in control, can't even handle a boss, has to go look up a guide.
Brother expert, how could you just abandon us like that?
At least we could have taken down this boss first. Right.
The three of them were in tears. Yue Zhongmian remained silent, but a sudden thought struck him. Could the reason this person was so calm and unresponsive to his actions be that the person he'd encountered now wasn't the same one he'd met at the very beginning? Just as he was sinking into this train of thought, Ye Shu returned from reviewing the guide.
Alright.
Bro, did you switch accounts or something?
Switched players?
Have you been the only one playing this account?
That's right.
Then I'm a bit confused. A top-tier expert like you. You still need to read a guide to fight a boss?
Oh, I haven't run this dungeon in years. How am I supposed to remember the strategy without a guide?
Back then.
I read the guide before we started too.
The four of them were stunned.
When was that?
When I learned the skill, I did skim the description after getting it. but it was way too long, so I skipped the part about the hidden boss for now.
The four of them were still a bit puzzled. They had, of course, studied the Spider Cave strategy guide long ago, but there was no method like the one Lord Grimm was directing them through. So what kind of guide was Lord Grimm even looking at? Meanwhile, Yi Shu was already explaining the strategy for the Spider Lord.
I just checked the Spider Lord's description. We can still use the same method we did for the Earth King mini-boss, surround it and chain stun it with coordinated attacks. But there's a catch. The Spider Lord will continuously lay spider eggs. This process cannot be interrupted by any skill. The hatched spiderlings are similar to the ones in the fixed path. But if they bite you, they'll inflict a 3-second forced immobilization. You all know what that means. You can't move, you can't attack, and you can't be attacked. It doesn't deal damage, but it will completely break our combo chain, so we absolutely cannot let those little spiders get a bite in.
So, what's the plan?
Leave the spiderlings to me. I'll handle them. So our final challenge is this. Can you 4 coordinate to land a continuous stun combo on the Spider Lord?
That's the strategy from the guide.
Tian Chi and his crew were no rookies. They wouldn't be fooled so easily. None of the guides they'd read mentioned this strategy. If any guide had, its author would have been ridiculed into oblivion. Why? Because that's only a theoretical possibility. 4 people keeping the Spider Lord in a perpetual stun? That's doable. But relying on just one person to kill every single little spider without a single mistake? Who could guarantee that? If even one of those little spiders gets out of control and bites any of the 4, the whole combo breaks. The Spider Lord could soar to the heavens or burrow into the earth, ensnare foes with earthen webs, and spew poisonous mist. Among the 3 hidden bosses, it was the most formidable, with 4 players surrounding it. Giving the boss a chance to counterattack like that could wipe the whole party on the spot.
Well, can you do it?
Hey, that's a question you should be asking yourself. Can you guarantee not a single little spider gets through?
Of course. So it all comes down to you 4. You're surrounding and killing the highest level Spider Lord. Your coordination tempo needs to be faster. My callouts won't help anymore. If you wait to hear me before reacting, you'll already be too late. It has to rely on the synergy between the 4 of you. How does that sound? Any problems?
Is there another strategy?
Tian Chi asked the question, but honestly, the 4 of them weren't feeling too confident.
Given your current skill sets, I'm afraid there isn't one.
Did you just come up with that strategy on the spot after seeing our class skills?
That's right.
The 4 of them were stunned, utterly stunned once more. They were still puzzled. Ye Shu had said he'd read the guide, but none of their Spider Cave runs had followed the strategies it described. Now they understood. Ye Shu hadn't read the guide for the strategy. He'd just studied the Spider Cave boss's traits, then improvised a whole new tactic perfectly suited to their team. No practice, no warm-up. Just direct commands, and a flawless victory on the first try.